everybody. This week we're going outside the studio with upper school math instructors Lillian Bruns and Pauline Bauman, and they're going to tell us a little bit about two special math projects they're working on.
Thanks, Tyler. Hi, I'm Lillian, and the fun assignment I did fourth quarter were these stained glass windows, and I have taught geometry honors for a good number of years and always try to incorporate projects, but when it gets to fourth quarter and everything's just so busy and jam-packed, they normally just go by the wayside, and I haven't done one. But the kids love them, so when we got to our circle unit, we had like an extra day, and I got to thinking, how can we help the kids prepare for their upcoming tests? Because there's a ton of theorems in the chapter on circles. So what I ended up doing was I listed out all the theorems for them, and there was 11 that seemed to be the most applicable to incorporating into the stained glass. And I told them that they had to choose at least 5. They had to draw them to scale and use constructions to make sure all their angle measures were accurate. So they were using rulers, protractors, and then some of the theorems they had to incorporate a circle within their circle if the theorem dealt with tangents, because they weren't able to draw the tangent lines outside of the circles. So it was kind of like a little learn as you go process for me, because then I needed them to do each theorem in a different color so I could check that they drew it accurately. But then to make it a stained glass, we wanted all of the lines to be, darker, like lined in black, and then they would color in the pane. So what we ended up doing was I just made a photocopy of it for them, and then they got the ruler and the black Sharpie and went over all the lines and then colored them in the way they wanted to, and then they had to hang them up. And I learned a few things that I would improve for next year. I definitely think they could use all of the theorems rather than just 5, because some of them just weren't busy enough. And also I would really encourage them to color with marker, because although the ones with colored pencils looked good close up, once they were hung in the windows, that kind of washed out the color. So I actually haven't gone outside and looked at them, but I really need to do that because I think they probably look pretty cool from the outside too. So Pauline also has something to share that she did with her, that was for geometry honors, mainly freshmen. And then you have the Algebra 2 honors.
Great, so I'm Pauline, and in my honors Algebra 2 classes, my students recently completed their Bowles, Desmos art projects. And I love this project so much. I designed it with 2 goals in mind. First, I wanted my students to apply all of the different equations that we have studied over the course of the entire school year in a new and creative context. And the second goal is a little bit mushy, but I did want my students to reflect on their time here on campus with us with gratitude, to look for the positives in their day, and to ultimately use math to create something meaningful to them, something they can look back on, and something that would bring them joy for years to come. So first, my students had to learn how to use Desmos, which is a web application that prides itself on offering an online graphing calculator. During that time, they learned skills when challenging themselves to create a replica of my Bowles kite. They learned how to input equations, how to restrict the domain and the range, how to calculate the parameters of an equation so that lines or curves connect precisely, and how to use inequalities to color. They learned how to create custom colors with the RGB color model. Next, they chose their absolute favorite place on campus, snapped a photo, and then started designing their piece of mathematical art on Desmos. As you view a few of the completed projects, remember that every single line, every single curve, all of the coloring is there because the student wrote an equation or an inequality. The projects we are highlighting have anywhere from 200 to 650 lines of math. I feel so proud of my students and hope you have enjoyed viewing their projects.
By doing these types of projects, we really can get to every type of student, especially those visual learners when they were physically, in my situation, drawing out the different, types of angles within the circle, and then with Pauline's, when they were having to graph all of the different equations. So I think the visual aspect really helps to get to that type of visual learner.
Thanks, Lillian and Pauline. That was awesome. And thanks to everybody out there for all that you do.